So happy to be joined by Todd Pappy, game director for God of War Ascension, which is getting all that much closer to its final launch.
Thank God. Thank God. Yeah, we're almost there. So I definitely see the light at the end of the tunnel. I see a nice vacation coming for us all.
Well, good, and that also means time I get to spend playing the game, which we did get a very generous helping of it today. Yes. The beginning of the game. It is God of War, but there's some wonderful distinctions from God of War 3. I think the first one I noticed is the visuals. It's got a very broad set of colors, but I don't know if it's the texture or if it's the lighting. It's not like other games I've seen.
It's both. So one of the things that Chris and I, who's our director we wanted to push on this one was color. You know, just from an artistic standpoint, especially with God of War 3, once the sun was taken out, you know, it limited our palette range. So, you know, for this one, we wanted to push the color in the game, and you can see that in the statue level that we showed at E3, and then you can also see that in the demo that we just showed now.
And add to that the animations, the fury that you're fighting at the very, very beginning, and then I'm blanking on the name again, the 100-arm.
Megara is the Fury, and then the 100-arm creatures is the Hecatoncheires.
I mean, there's so much kind of undulating qualities in a lot of the enemies you're seeing. Even with the Cyclops, you can sort of see the rolls of fat rippling on top of the muscle. I mean, it's very impressive to look at. I mean, was it fun to get to play with this technology in such a more, I guess, precise way?
Well, with our animators are just, to me, at the top of the game. You know, hands down, what they're able to do and pull off. You know, because we hand animate those. It's not like, you know, we have a sock puppet, you know, and we say, okay, this is the way it's going to animate. Everything is hand animated, and the time that it takes to get that right and get that the humanistic quality across in Megara, as well as, you know, just the way that the creature moves. These guys are spending countless hours, you know, refining their craft and making sure that everything feels so smooth. And then from there, it's just, how does it feel with Kratos? And you know, then that's really where the combat design comes in, and getting those moves figured out as far as the attacks, the taunts, you know, and how everything combines together into one cohesive experience.
Now, the combat is probably the most kind of tactile difference I can sense in the game. It feels much sort of faster. It also feels a lot sort of more brutal. I think that's because there are these physical punches you can be throwing at the enemies around you.
Well, what we wanted to, if you wanted to describe it in one word, it would be raw. So in God of War 3, Kratos was basically like a ballerina of death. You know, he'd spin and he'd do all these pirouettes and everything like that. But with this one, we wanted to get it to feel more raw. Like he's just getting his blades. He's you know, getting used to the way that these things work. But if you look at the world weapons, you know, he's very comfortable with the sword. He's very comfortable with the shield. He's very comfortable with the spear, and these Spartan type weapons that you would see in real life. And so he can use those and wield those the way that he wants to. And with the blades, you know, he's not going to be doing a huge amount of spins or anything like that. But it's basically just making sure that it feels very fluid and brutal at the same time.
Now, obviously, we only played the beginning where he hasn't really built out his moveset. I mean, will it be comparable to previous God of War games? Because we have added these other weapons that he can pick up on the field. I mean, is it going to be different for people who have been fans of the series?
It will be different. So the way that we've adjusted this one is we've got the blades. We're sticking with the blades. Now we've got elements that we infuse into the blades. So we've got the fire element, which, you know, when you use it, it will actually stun enemies. So if you want to stun a Cyclops and ride him, or if you want to stun an elephant and ride him, or if you want to stun a Medusa and use her to freeze everybody, that's kind of use the fire blades. But if you want to, you know, freeze a Cyclops in place and actually shatter him, then use the Poseidon blades. So ice, and then we've got electric and soul, and so each one of these bring a unique take to the combat. So each one of them will have its own unique specials. It will have its own unique rage. It will have its own unique magic, and then basically, if you kill guys a certain way, then you will get health orbs from one, you'll get magic orbs from another, you'll get red orbs from another, and you'll get rage orbs from another. So it allows players to go through and figure out how they want to dismantle this fight. And, you know, some might build up the rage on smaller characters and then, stun the big guy. Other ones might, go through and take down the big guy first, and then, we wanted to create this mental meat to the fight so that players go through and make sure that, they're always thinking, how do I want to approach this?
It's interesting. I'll have to concede. I've always wanted to just see the blades in the game. It's what you have from the beginning. You build your relationship. You get all that good muscle memory around how to control it. But it took the fourth iteration of God of War, at least on a major console.
Right.
What was it that finally allowed you guys to say, like, hey, you know what? That's really what defines this character. Let's just stick with that.
Well, it was just thinking about it and thinking about how we want to adjust the combat. And so, in the past, the rage has been something that people build up 15 to 20 fights, and they kind of squirrel it away and, or hold it away and never want to use it. And, they're always worried about, I might need it for the next fight. Well, this way, you can build it up 3 to 4 times in a fight. And so you can pop something off real quick, and then you can switch to something else and build it up again and use it. And, we wanted to have that kind of experience of, in the past, the way that you've measured how good you're doing is, well, first, dismantling the creature. Second is your combo meter. Well, in this case, if you get hit, your rage meter doesn't completely drain. It slightly drains, depending on the character. So it's one of those things where we wanted Kratos to feel like the tank he is.
The other thing that really stands out in playing the opening of the game is what the camera's doing. I mean, there is just some wild sort of movements that add a lot of drama.
Did it make you sick?
I know. It didn't make me sick. What it did do, which was interesting, is there are times where I just kind of sat back and watched it, forgetting that I was supposed to be interacting with what was happening around me. That isn't something that has ever struck me as something easy to do and also make it sort of playable at the same time.
Well, we have basically four camera designers, and then Mark, who's our lead designer, was our lead camera designer on previous games. So, the way that he deals with the camera is like he can easily say, okay, this is what I want, and this is how to get it, and then just the movement of the characters and making sure that we're framing everything and we're selling, the movement of the arms and the actual the monster that you're fighting, actually pulling the arm around and making sure that it feels like the head versus a hand or it's a thinking creature versus hands are never thought of thinking just because they're reactionary and so that was the whole process that we went through with this boss, is how to make sure that it feels like it's moving properly and it feels like it's in control.
How does this game work as a prequel? I have played all the games. I'm not remembering every single nuance of it. Right. But Kratos is Kratos at the beginning of this.
Yes. So this takes place roughly about 6 months to a year after he killed his wife and kid. And when we opened the story, we wanted to open it on a why of, how the hell did he get chained up here? How was he captured? And then at this point, you break free, and even the hardcore players, that have kind of been following our story, in PAX, we showed off Megara real quick. You'll notice that she has something that she's missing in the beginning of the game. And so players, when they play through the story, will actually flash back to different parts in time and be able to play through that experience and see how he got captured and got put into the Hecaton cruise.
All right, so God of War Ascension is coming out on
March 12th, 2013.
Yes, 2013. Well, it's coming around the corner. Thank you so much for your time. I imagine you and your team are absolutely exhausted. Yeah. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to play the game.
All right,
thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, if you want more on God of War Ascension, well, you can hear my impressions because I got the chance to play the game and take the heads off of things and watch innards spill out of Cyclops' tummies. It's good. Anyway, go check that out and stick around for a whole bunch of other stuff here from this Sony event. You can find it at youtube.com/Rev3Games. Go hit that subscribe button because it makes my tummy smile, not spill open with guts.